the future there will be orange again and green colors and stupid colors, but for this album it had to be white because it's like that day after tomorrow thing, end of the world and rebellion and all that stuff. So no color this time. But in the music there's much more color, believe me. It's much more happy Helloween. So if you're looking for color, you got it in the songs. I'm pretty much convinced that we cannot actually get rid of the shit we've started. I mean, that's the way it is. Life is going down, more or less. Maybe we are in the happy situation that we are still living a great life in all the luxury we know around us. But I'm very scared about my son and the next generation, the son of my son, and there it'll get not as nice as we live our lives. I think they are having much more problems. To be happy, to do what I want. This is actually a sentence my father once told me when I finished school. And like everybody who finished school saw himself at like this crossway in your life when you have to decide which way to go. Do you have an idea what you want to do for the future? Do you learn a profession? Do you go and study something? Or nobody knows exactly what's wrong and what's right here. And my father told me, look, you're my only son. If you are leading a happy life, I am happy. So it's your God-given right to be happy. So do whatever you need to do. And I said, okay, then I'm going to try at least and play some rock and roll music here for a few years, and let's see what's going to be then in the future. Now I'm happy.
We are high, we are far, but we wonder where we are.
The Swing of a Fallen World, it's You Still of War, and maybe a little bit Claws. These 2-3 songs are a bit more realistic and more from the pessimistic side of view. The rest of the album I would rather see as a party and hope-giving happy Helloween album with all the trademarks, like from speed metal down to rock and roll, so everything is in there. For this album we wanted to have a little celebration inside the band. 30 years Helloween, we actually wanted to mirror that and reflect that with the album. So we desperately tried to do an album which leads you through 3 decades of rock and metal. So you even have like Walls of Jericho, Keeper Touch from the 80s, you go through the 90s, you have some dark ride shit like for example The Swing of a Fallen World. And you end up with some kind of evergreen metal 2015 with a hopefully up-to-date sound. And Charlie, the producer, I think was very nicely building the bridge with a sound that you sometimes really feel like in the 80s without leaving 2015. So this is a very, very small path, actually. You have to see it's not only to look at it from a romantic point of view. The boys come onto the island, and the first 2 or 3 weeks it's still, oh, we're back, you know. But then it becomes work again, because when you close the studio door, it's just a studio. It could be wherever you are in the world, a studio is a studio, you know. But the big advantage is as soon as you get out of the studio, you see the Atlantic Ocean, and there's a banana tree, and it gives you some like holidays in 5 seconds, so to say. We actually don't think about it because you are aware of a certain danger, but then again, you could not change it anyway. I mean, if it happens, it happens. What would you do with your life? Like, lock yourself behind some iron bars? I mean, don't live anymore? That's not the solution. So what can you do? I mean, you live your life the way you always did, and you don't try to think about it more often than once a day or something like that. Maybe not really go out on the street where there are maybe some possible dangers. But that's pretty much clear. I mean, you without terrorists, I mean, just another example, you don't walk the streets of Rio de Janeiro with your Rolex. So if you do that, you're stupid. There are so many poor people. If you see a Rolex on your arm, that means 2 years of living for them. So what do you expect them to do? I read a lot, and I out myself of being one of the first guys who discovered George R.R. Martin, Song of Ice and Fire, now in the television known as Game of Thrones. And I remember picking the book up like years ago in New York City, where there was like this, the most promising authors of, I don't remember, 2001 or 2002. Unfortunately, Mr. George R.R. Martin is probably never finishing this series. So I learned that he had to even write a short description of the finish of the series and put it in the safe for HBO. That in the case he dies, HBO knows at least how the story is ending.
My God-given right.